minds of the younger children and how to deal and tackle the challenges that lie ahead. May I now request Dr. Sharmishta Chakravarti to address the kids.
OMG. It's so difficult to actually talk after such speakers as Commander Jindri and Mr. Goswami. And I would like to thank the IIT Kharagpur alumni for calling me and inviting me to be a speaker on this issue which we are always discussing in the media, in the Indian Psychiatric Society, and all the conferences and all the schools I go to and give my talks. Thank you so much, and good morning to my dear friends and my respected seniors. The psychological impact of social media. Now, in 2010, my niece, who was only 13, introduced me to Facebook. And OMG, again, my life changed totally. And did it change for worse or good? Of course, it changed for good. But I always thank God that it wasn't there in my generation, because in that case, I wouldn't have gone through a joint entrance examination. I would have been hooked to the social media. So it is that difficult to get rid of it. And just now, I put my phone on flight mode, and I'm just wondering what is going on there. So that is a very difficult one. Now, is everything bad about social media? Like Mr. Goswami said, there are a lot of good things in social media. Now, in the year 2017, WHO said their propaganda was mental health this year. And mental health said, let's talk. Let's talk means we have to speak about our difficulties. We have to speak about if we are feeling low. And all this propaganda was again promoted by our Deepika Padukone, who came out in the social media and who said, I have been depressed and I've been on antidepressant, and there's no stigma in talking about your depression. So Let's Talk movement started, and everybody was talking about how difficult their life was or how good things were in their lives. So this was a movement which went on in the social media. Then I think many of you kind of also saw on Facebook the Me Too movement, which was about the child sexual abuse, which we are so much worried about this in this day and age, that children are committing suicide and violation of the children's sexual thoughts are coming very young, age of 3, 4, 5, 6. So the Me Too revolution started on Facebook, and we came out with a strange that every person on Facebook, every lady and some gentlemen as well, came out with a Me Too, that I was abused and touched when I shouldn't have been touched in my childhood. So these are the good things about social media. Now, social media, of course, improves the communication and connectivity. I have been alone, doing psychiatry. I was very comfortable with my patients, me, my home. But now I have a huge family, a family who is living in Canada or Australia, and who are coming, and I'm joining, and I'm talking to them, having fun, and posting it on my Instagram, on Facebook. So how good is that? It improves communication. It is, of course, as Mr. Goswami said, it's great for business. Young entrepreneurs are coming up with different business opportunities. And of course, personal communication is excellent. Now, if we know that Facebook itself has about 1.65 billion, I don't know if it is right or wrong, if there is a problem with Facebook, imagine the public health issue which will come out. The epidemiological studies, the researchers, if they find out that there is a mental health issue with the social media, then we are looking at a pandemic. We are looking at a huge problem. So the research is very important at the moment. Why is the social networking system or social media popular among adolescents? How many of you, I'm not judging, nobody's judging you, how many of you have Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram in your smartphones? How many of you? How many of you? And how many don't, of course? How many don't? Oh wow. I think many of you put hands twice. So that's interesting. Okay. Now, it serves as a means to construct their social identities. Okay. So, previously, children were children. They were running around. I used to play Bali Khela. I don't know if anybody of you used to play as a child. Did you play with sand and, yeah? Of course you did, but, the children do. That is very interesting. But the social identity of the child, by allowing them to control their profiles in order to express their desired self-presentation. Now, if I am really, I will get the right angle of my face and post it on Facebook. That is what I like most. And for that, if I have to take hundreds of pictures, I would do. Because I would like the best picture to be on my Instagram, to be on my Facebook profile, isn't it? Even if I am feeling awful and I am not doing well in my life at all. So it's a desired self-presentation. That is what I want to be. I want to be happy. I want to look good. I want to be best looking, successful. I want to be like my Facebook profile. Via those virtual selves, they can interact with friends and peers in a forum that is shielded from the supervising adults. Now, many of my parents tell me, Dr. Chakraborty, my son has blocked me. So I have actually gone to my sister, who is a friend, and now I am watching my son's Facebook, whom he is making, and he is making friends with 50 girls at a time. There's a big problem. When we used to write a diary in the past, and it was for ourselves. So, I always tell, you don't have to do that. If your son and daughter has blocked you, do not go into it. But there are other ways which we will talk about. Now, of course, the positive effects of social media, Mr. Goswami has already spoken about. Management and enhancement of social capital, connectiveness with others. It increases the self-esteem, that you get likes. Oh, fantastic. 2 likes, lovely. And then you wait for the other like. When will it come? When you're feeling jittery, and suddenly you have 20 likes, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I have 3,000 friends, and about 500 have given me like. So it increases the self-esteem. I don't know whether it's a false increase of self-esteem or the real one. A satisfaction to their need to belong in a technologically dominated society. We would all love to be, so many of you said you would like to be engineers, you would like to go to IIT Kharagpur, which is such a reputed institution. So of course, a technologically dominated community would be the right place for a young person. That's the right place. But do they have negatives? Yes. There is a debate. There are positives as well as there are negative outcomes. So what are the negative outcomes? One of the things is that what I said just now, emergence of compulsive checking and excessive engagement in social media, and therefore to negative psychological consequences. Now, when you are constantly checking something, of course, say WhatsApp, many people say, oh, I'm getting a lot of notes on WhatsApp, ma'am, I have to keep it open, when I'm studying, I can't get rid of it. I said, please lock your phone, switch off your phone and give it to your parent. No, I get important notes by WhatsApp. We are always discussing studies. We cannot, I cannot. But is that a way? Your concentration is getting deviated. And I know it's, we talked about that. That is, this is very serious talk. But this is an important talk we have to have, because, of course, most of you are 9 and 11 and 10 and 12. So what are these important steps to you are going to be somebody, isn't it? You're going to be researchers, scientists, you're going to be writers, you're going to be doctors. Think about it, right? But you're going to be doctors, engineers, and you're going to be, managers. Yeah, you're going to be big people. Okay? So basically, this causes a concentration lack. Parents usually worry about their adolescent children being on Facebook and spending too much time on their smartphones. But why did you buy them a smartphone? Oh, well, he said that he's going to leave my house and he threatened me. He's going to, the most fashionable thing, that is not mental illness anymore. Because the most fashionable thing these days is scratching your hand. It's a strange thing. One school in particular, I find so many people copying each other. They slit their wrist, and they slit their wrist in a different part. They know that the vein are not going through that part. That's very interesting. So why did you cut there? There's no point in cutting. They know your anatomy. So parents are being threatened by children that they are going to kill themselves. And I have only one child, ma'am. What will I do? I had to give a smartphone. Yesterday I saw a patient who wants an iPhone 10, iPhone X or whatever, and she is 19-year-old, and the father was, he was in his pajamas and he has a business and cable, he has given everything to the child and the child is used to it. So now she wants iPhone X, yeah, and so that is one of the things parents are very, very much worried about. There are several studies showing an association of prime time spent on social media and lower grades in school, less connection to peers, poor self-esteem, and higher rate of depression. Now, does grade matter at all? Well, yes, it does. We would love it if it doesn't, but actually in the real world, it does matter. You hear all these things about 90%, 95%, this, that. Of course, we can't think about it because we didn't get more than 80% anyway. But these days, grades matter a lot. That's the problem. And grades are related to self-esteem at some point in time. It shouldn't be, but it is, unfortunately. Next. Now, do all people suffer? No. Mr. Goswami has already pointed it out. There are vulnerable people who become or have problems of mental health and behavioral problems. There are vulnerable people. Now, one is younger age. There are some people who are 12, 10, 11. They are going on Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram or Snapchat. The younger age group are vulnerable age group. Distortion of online profile. They are giving a fantastic lady's picture when they are, somebody else. Yeah, and a name which is something. Yeah, I don't know, my son also gave something like that. Some long field or something, and with a big gun. He said, what is this? You give your own profile. It's not a problem. So, distortion of profile is very interesting and that is one of the vulnerability, and people might think that you are in your 20s. And so I get a lot of patients who are in their 15s, 16s, and they have relationship with 35, 40, 50-year-olds. And because of this distortion of profile, and there is a lot of psychopathy, I'm telling you, because the blue whale game, which we talked about a little while, was a psychopathic disorder coming on social media, which made a huge problem. in Russia, in some parts of India, in some of the villages of West Bengal. So, you know, people were committing suicide at the end of the game. These were the vulnerable, lonely, depressed, anxious, stressed people who the social media attacked. And they were there. Boom. And existing mental health problems. As I said, that if they are already lonely, already suffering from separation of parents, already in a marital discord in their family, nobody looks at them, they're all alone. You know, because older people have problems. We all know our parents do have problems. They are human beings. Both of them work, single child. These are vulnerable people. They do not have friends, they study all the time, they do not have games. As a result, these vulnerable people think negatively. So what is important is that find one friend at least. My advice is find one friend with whom you can relate and talk to when you are stressed. That's very important. Do not go into the social media for help. You might get the wrong help. That's the problem. Okay. The results of various research emphasize the relevance of social media for individuals who try to cope with real-life social problems and to gratify social needs online. So if I am lonely, I would definitely go to the social media, interact with people, and that's a lovely way. That's a lovely way to get people, isn't it? But the problem is, where do you draw a line? Where do you draw a line of your mental health problems and get help when? That's most important. Now, social media and addiction. We say, you know, in America and some of the first world countries, you actually have rehabs for net addiction, for game addiction. You have rehabs. And rehabs are for addictions. We send people to rehabs, people who are on alcohol, who are on cocaine, who are on heroin, who are on cannabis. All these are terrible drugs which play with your brain, which have chemical changes in your brain. So addiction comes there. You all read science. You know about neurons, isn't it? You know about neurochemicals. You know about dopamine, about serotonin. And the addiction, when people are addicted to somebody, these chemicals play a strange game with each other and you become unwell. You cannot concentrate. You become low mood. You become irritable. You cannot sleep. You'll see how many of you do that, you know, under your lape or blanket, you take the phone and do it so that mom doesn't know. I mean, we used to read a book. Things have changed. We used to read a book or listen to a radio, and now things are a little bit different. That you actually look at your mobile phone. But mobile phone throws a light, isn't it? So everybody knows there is, you know, you are not doing well. Anyway, social networking is a way of being. That is, we all do social networking. As I said, I'm sure all of you do the, you know, all of you have social network system. Do you have that? You all are in social media. Even, you know, all the elders are in social media. You know, all the young people are in social media. It's a being. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. So that's fine. Yeah. Individuals can become addicted to social networking system. FOMO may be part of social media addiction. FOMO, I'll come to FOMO. Yeah. So, and smartphone addiction. Smartphone addiction, we all have smartphones. I mean, anybody has an old phone? The one? Yeah, okay. Oh, many. Very good. Excellent. That is for communication. That is for talking. That's excellent. Smartphone, you know, whenever a phone rings, don't you feel, oh my God, again she has called. Let me not take it. And then you take it and then you feel you could have messaged it. Why did you waste my time? See, this is the problem. If you had previously had a Mashi or somebody coming, you would have enjoyed with her. Yeah, but now the phones have changed the interactional styles. Next. Nomophobia. I mean, what kind of thing is that? It is no mobile phone phobia. Nomophobia. Like, I have left my phone at home. Let me go, even as I have gone 10 kilometers, let me go and quickly collect, there can be very important calls. Though people know I am in Columbia, Asia, I have to go back and bring my phone in case I miss something. Okay? Now, there are differences between boys and girls in the way they use social media. Girls use it for emotional use, for emotional warmth, for expressing their emotions. Boys use it for gaming, for different reasons. Yeah? So girls use and boys use is a little bit different. Girls might become a little bit more vulnerable to psychopathy because many people might get into, your space. Privacy is very important in social media. So keep your do not actually accept a friend request from somebody who is a complete stranger. I mean, many of you have friends, isn't it? I have 3,500 friends, you tell me. But how many people do you know? About 20? So that is not done. You cannot have 20 people known and 3,000 friends. That is putting yourself in a very vulnerable situation where people can use your profile, use yourself and use your interaction in a different way. So that is very dangerous. And of course, plenty of research is required in this case. Now, when do we call a thing becoming addictive? We call a thing becoming addictive when, for alcohol and drug addiction, we say that salience of drink-seeking behavior. So social media, we cannot do without it, that kind of feeling. That is one. Mood modification, that is, it alters our mood and becomes pleasurable during the use of the social media. Increased tolerance, the more you use, the better it gets and you want it more, that's increased tolerance. Next. Relapse, in case you deactivate your account and again straight away, I think I could go off my mobile, my Facebook account for 3 days. And I went back and they were everybody, where were you? And I felt so much wanted. And oh my God, so many people want me. So reinstatement and relapse. Conflicts within the individual with, okay, you get a lot of feeling that I should leave the mobile, I should leave the social media. That kind of conflict, I should leave the alcohol, I should leave the drug. That is conflict within, and problems with immediate social family and relationship problems. Your parents shout at you and you feel, my parents do not love me, my father doesn't love me because he's always shouting at me, my mother hates me because she is asking me to give the phone when I have to study. So these are all features of alcohol and drug addiction, and again all of them are present in mobile phone and social media addiction. Wow, the selfie, ultimate selfie. I will go above Eiffel Tower, hold it and throw my body there and, selfie. How many people died while taking a selfie? Yeah, many people died. So selfies, imagine the narcissism of the selfie. I am taking a photo of me and I am putting it on my Instagram or Facebook profile. So what am I doing? I am getting more and more attention. The likes are improving my self-esteem with instant gratification. I am showing off. If people can do a boredom, okay, I don't have anything to do, let me take a few selfies. Yeah, just for fun. Yeah, you go out with your friends and you want to take a selfie, so you take a selfie. Yeah, these are the selfies. But one of the things WHO and the American Psychiatric Association was talking about is is there something called selfitis? That is selfie becoming actual health issue, mental health issue. Nothing is proved as yet. Selfitis doesn't exist as yet, but it is definitely worth thinking what we are doing when we are taking a selfie and how we are taking it and the dangerousness of the selfie use. Okay. Now, these are the things we are concerned about: unnatural death, self-obsessed behavior, and when there is no response to that selfie, we feel dissatisfied, disappointed, irritated, and ultimately depressed with ourselves. One point is sure, social media is here to stay and it's going to grow and grow and grow. It's a huge boom of business. It's an excellent method of communication and linking to people. Another point is